Hello, it's Mike Rhyner of Your Dark Companion here, wanting to thank you all for joining us on patreon.com throughout the year, or that portion of the year that we've been doing this. Also, don't forget to check out the Sunset Lounge. There you can find podcasts such as The Clubhouse. The Clubhouse is your one-stop shop for all things sports, pop culture, entertainment, pro wrestling. Who knows what else these guys might get into. I love these guys. They're great. Since 2010, they brought their knowledge and passion for these subjects and so much more to the internet in a way that is entertaining and engaging. Their show is family friendly, so it's okay to sit down with grandma and be a part of all their shenanigans. They are the Clubhouse. They're at the Sunset Lounge.
Nobody would have thought that I would be the one. Rhyner, sports talk. Baseball, 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 baseball.
Oh, with the big mic. Oh, okay. All right, yeah. Okay, now I get it.
We got a lightning strike, boys. What happened over there, Grego? We had a little lightning strike right outside the window.
All right. Here's a tip for all these Americano League teams.
Wait, you said tip?
Yeah, tip.
Okay.
With a P.
Keep jamming.
The ticket, colon, nothing but a big Gen X jerk-off session.
This is a cool night or what?
Although somebody would hear that and go, bullshit.
I'm back, bitches.
Hello, everybody. It is another edition of Your Dark Companion. We are glad to have you with us no matter where you are, no matter when or how or where or even why you may be watching this podcast transmission. We appreciate you being out there. I would be Mike Rhyner. We got the usual crew in here. Shoopy is here, Ashley is here, Mickey is here, Becca is here, and I am here. And it is the 19th day of the merry, merry month of May. Here in the D today, the weather is threatening. It is cloudy. It looks like it could rain hard at any time, but hasn't started yet. So hopefully we'll all get out of this thing alive. Now, today, I got to tell you, I'm very excited about this today because this one's kind of for me.
Whoa.
What?
Trying to search something and that didn't work out well.
Boy, it sure didn't.
No kidding. We are not having him on today. Probably not for a little while.
No, Cavs won't be with us today.
Jesus.
Maybe sometime down the road here, but not today. We're doing something else today. We're doing something that I am really into. And that thing that I am really into is Jeopardy. Now, I don't know how many people know this about me, but I have been into Jeopardy for a long, long time. Since the first time I saw it, which could have been too long after it first hit the airwaves, whenever that was. I was a kid then. But there was something about the show that really grabbed me, and I've kind of faded in and out over the years, but every time I would watch it, I would think, man, that's really cool. I'm going to start watching it again. Well, over the last decade or so, I said that, and I have stayed true to it. Today, I roll on it when it comes on live, and it is the last thing I watch before I go to sleep at night, or try to go to sleep at night, usually unsuccessfully. Probably because Jeopardy has my mind working a little bit too hard for that night, that time of the night. But one thing I've always wanted to do is talk to somebody who has actually been a contestant on Jeopardy. And today we have found that guy, and I'm getting my wish. This is Jack McGuire, a Jeopardy contestant.
Mike, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for doing this. Now, let's talk a little bit about you first. Where are you from?
You know the classic line from Johnny Cash, I've been everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can do this quickly. Born in the Midwest, grew up on the West Coast, 15 years in D.C., 10 years in New Orleans, Louisiana, and 5 years here in the great state of Texas.
Where in the great state of Texas?
So for 4 of those years, well, about 4 of those years, I was in the San Antonio area. And about a year and a half ago, we reload to the Houston area. So now we live in Cypress, Texas.
All right. All right. And you have been on Jeopardy. Tell us a little bit about your Jeopardy journey. What got you into it?
Well, I mean, my family growing up were regular Jeopardy viewers, I think, for the same reasons you laid out. It's the type of show where you can easily picture yourself being a contestant, and you want to match wits and see how you'd hold up against the contestants that appear on any given episode. My experience with the actual show began about 16 years ago when I first did the online test, which is how they've been doing things now for, I think, the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And I was selected to come and make an appearance for the second round of testing, which was in person. And this is when I was living in the Washington, D.C. area. Did the test, said, okay, thank you. I never heard from them again.
Did you have to go somewhere to do the test?
they had a testing session at one of the local hotels in Northwest Washington.
Okay.
And I didn't know how I did. I didn't know exactly what they were looking for, but since they never called me again, I said, okay.
So you just show up, take the test, they say thanks, and that's that.
And we'll get back to you if they ever do. Fast forward another 10 years, and I once again did well enough on the online exam to have an.
So you stayed after this, huh?
I'm sorry.
You stayed after this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, every year I was eligible to take the online test, I would, and it only took 10 years, and they finally called me back again to do the online, or excuse me, the in-person portion. This time it was in New Orleans, where I happened to be living at the time. And that was in 2018. And then again, a year passed and I had heard nothing. My family and I relocated to San Antonio, and there I was minding my own business when one of the show's producers called and said, hey, we'd love to have you on the show. And so we made quick preparations, because I think they called me at the beginning of September, and I think they wanted to record my episode 5 or 6 weeks after. So I didn't have a lot of time to make the preparations to get out to Southern California.
So they tell you they want you on the show. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you got to figure out how you're going to get out there yourself and all that stuff. Huh?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Now they do have a hotel that where they have standing reservations. I couldn't tell you which one it was, but as it happens, my sister lived close by in the Culver City area, so I was just able to stay with her for that time. So yeah.
So were you pretty euphoric with this news and everything? You must have been. I mean, if it were me, I would be over the moon.
Oh, I was. I mean, I can't believe this. This is once in a lifetime opportunity. The only problem was they weren't terribly flexible with the date. And I called my wife, told her when the date would be, and she said, "Well, I'm going to be out of town at that time. Who's going to watch the kids?" And I'm like, "Oh, really?" So what we ended up doing, I'm not even kidding. We bought 2 more tickets, so I flew my kids out with me, who were young at the time. I think they were 4 and 6. And the only reason was because we my wife wasn't going to be there. We didn't really know anybody who could take them at that time.
Yeah.
Because we were brand new to San Antonio, brand new to Texas. So they accompanied me to LA.
Now, were you a big trivia guy? Because, essentially, Jeopardy is trivia. It's probably about the highest form of the game of trivia as I know of anyway. Were you into that?
Yes, and at least within our family, among my 2 siblings and my parents, we all had a little bit of a competitive streak, just a little bit. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that I was a trivia geek, and I took a lot of pride in kind of like perverse pride in that distinction. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you think people are just wired that way?
Yes, I think that some people just have a knack for, what at times can be useful information, but most of the time is absolutely, useless ephemera.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I say all this lovingly because I'm wired that way myself.
Okay, great.
Believe me, I am one of you.
Good. Excellent. Yeah.
I mean, I have all kinds of stuff that is meaningless to everybody else except me swimming around in my mind.
Right.
And I never can tell when some obscure baseball player from the 1961 Philadelphia Phillies is going to pop into mind, such as the great Jim Woods or somebody like that, And in a way, I kind of feel like I'm a prisoner of it, I mean, I couldn't stop doing it, even if I wanted to, but actually, the reality is I love it when it happens like that.
And you inevitably get the eye roll from a bystander. Like, Mike, only you would remember that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And to me, that's a sign of a job well done.
Exactly.
That's very high praise for me.
We're going to go with that. We're just going to go with that.
All right. Now, this was when the great Alex Trebek was still on watch.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Now, of course, Alex died not too long ago, but his presence on that show still to this day, as I'm sure you know, they speak of him in reverential tones.
And that reverence is well earned, well deserved, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, me too.
He was, and I can tell you, he's one of the few that I've ever encountered, high-profile folks who what you saw was absolutely what you got. There was no pretension. There was nothing fake about him. He wasn't one of those who turned it on and turned it off.
Yeah.
He was absolutely consistent in almost every facet of interactions with us, and it was really refreshing.
That was kind of my vibe on him.
Yeah. Now I will say that he interacted with us, but there was kind of an unspoken, I want to say separation. That's
yeah.
But he wouldn't get too deeply involved. He wouldn't get too close to the contestants, probably because he's been through tens of thousands of us.
Yeah.
So wanted to maintain an air of impartiality. Wanted to maintain the integrity of the show. At least that's how I interpreted it. So.
Yeah. I would imagine I saw your episode.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry.
I don't remember it, but I mean, like I say, I've watched it every day for some years now. And I would imagine I saw it. Okay. But we'll get to that here when the game starts in a little bit. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about the preparation. What happens when you're out there? I mean, do they tell you where to go once you get there, or who you have to check in with and let them know that you're there and let them know you're ready to roll and everything?
Oh yes, I mean the process I'm sure has been refined over decades. It's very well rehearsed, very exceptionally choreographed. I mean, without going into excruciating detail, once we're all on site,
we're all about detail here. Go ahead.
They bring us into a green room and they do an exceptionally thorough orientation. They even do an on-site rehearsal with each of us, and I think there were probably 10 or 12 of us, if memory serves. And what they do is they actually do an entire week's worth of episodes in one day. And so that means Alex has 5 wardrobe changes during the course of a day.
Yeah.
And what made it interesting, though, is that aside from the returning champion, those of us who were the prospective contestants who were gathered there that day, we didn't know which session, which taping we would be part of. And as it happened, mine was the last one of the day, which I and the others who were, toward the end, we got lunch provided for us at the commissary. The others who, played and did not win in the earlier episodes, they just said, thank you very much. Here, we've got your information for your check, and they headed to the airport. So it I mean, again, well-oiled machine, well-rehearsed, well-choreographed.
Boy, I'll bet. I mean, I'll bet everybody involved in that show knows where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, and what they're supposed to do, and how it's all supposed to roll out.
Absolutely. I do remember a couple of tidbits, though. People like to express their personalities in many ways, and contestants have been doing so for a while. They did warn us that we were not to, if a question response, for example, was a famous song, or if there was a famous line from a famous piece of dialogue from a movie or a television show, we were not, and they stressed this, we were not to sing anything, and we were not to recite lines in character, because they were fastidious about avoiding any kind of copyright infringement.
Yeah.
So, well, it was interesting.
Okay.
It only ruined my day, but otherwise we're fine.
You can do some of those impressions here.
Well, I mean, if I had won, I was going to do the character of Snake from The Simpsons. I would say, "All right, so long, student loan payments." But sadly, that did not come to pass. So it was all for naught anyway.
Did you have any interaction with with your opponents?
Many, and yes, I mean, I think they were only two ended up being opponents, I suppose, if you want to look at it that way.
Or contestants, I should say.
Yeah, I would say contestants, but we all had a chance to meet each other, and in general chat. Some were more amiable and open than others, but I think we were all fairly friendly and collegial. I mean, and to this day, I mean, I keep scant contact with some of the others, but we still, wish each other well. We check in on each other every once in a while.
Now, when you speak of the others, how many are we talking about here?
Again, in the green room when they gathered us together, I want to say there were maybe 10 or 12 of us.
Okay.
I could be off on that. My memory is a little hazy on it, but that seems about right, because you would have the returning champion, whomever that was, and then you would select the next two.
Yeah.
So with 5 episodes, that pretty well works out in terms of the numbers. I do remember that the returning champion, who began the day with episode 1, I think she was defeated after the second episode of that day, and then we went to another champion, and I think the champion of my episode. I think she went on. She was like a 3-time winner, I think. Mm-hmm. And then they just kind of cycle through them.
So did she wind up? She didn't wind up making the Tournament of Champions or anything?
No. I don't. Unless my memory of this is very wrong. No, I think she was a 3-time champion, which is, I mean, obviously it's better than I did.
Pretty good.
But no, I think for Tournament of Champions, I think the minimum is a 5-time repeat champion.
Did you get to meet Johnny Gilbert?
Not face to face. Johnny, and we were graced with his presence. He waved at us, of course.
For those who may not know, Johnny Gilbert is the Jeopardy announcer.
Yes. At the time, he was also quite elderly. I believe even at my recording date, he was in his 90s. So I think, being the institution that he was, I think he wanted, again, to keep that kind of invisible wall of separation, not getting too close. So
even today, when the show opens, there's Johnny Gilbert announcing the contestants and then bringing on Ken Jennings, and Ken Jennings says, "Thank you, Johnny," just like Alex Trebek did.
Right.
Do you think that there was a demanded line of succession between Alex and Ken, where it was understood that Ken was to come in here and do this in the same way that Alex did?
No, I don't think so. I think that the producers of the show, obviously with Alex being sick in his final few seasons, I think they started making a plan, but I don't think that they envisioned that the end would come as quickly as it did.
Yeah.
And so I think they were left a little bit flat-footed, scrambling to figure out whom could we possibly find to fill Alex's shoes? Obviously, Ken Jennings' name would come up as he became a fixture on the show in his own right. As you know, Mayim Bialik also hosted many episodes, but I don't know if you remember, but they kind of test drove a number of hosts, including Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And my personal favorite, whom I thought, this is just my personal opinion, the producers at Paramount can disagree with me if they want to. I really thought, and there's no family relation here, but I thought Jimmy McGuire deserved a shot. If for those who don't know, he was part of the Clue crew, and he made frequent appearances on the show, delivering clues from on location, like special locations, the Acropolis or something like that. He also assisted us during rehearsals, and he was also there at the testing the in-person testing sessions at various parts around the country. He did a lot of work for that show, and I don't know if he would have been the right choice to host, but I think he deserved a shot.
Yeah,
frankly.
Do you think they were really intent on finding somebody who could do it like Alex did it, and keep the whole vibe of the thing as it always has been?
I think that was my uneducated guess is yes. I think that played a role in their selection.
And this is no knock on Ken by any means.
Not at all.
He's
not
excellent.
Well, I mean, I think he's proven himself, at least from a contestant perspective, to be better than all of us. But I think it was also, who we got that's going to, that has the type of name recognition and perhaps even, an aura, if for lack of a better way of describing it, that would keep the base, the core of the audience still involved, still engaged. I mean, we all, as we've discussed, we all can picture ourselves in the role of contestant. I mean, that's how the show got popular. But yes, I mean, if you don't have the type of personality that can carry that off, then sure, even that might fall into a morass and people start to lose interest. So sure, I think that his Ken Jennings, his fame and his accomplishments certainly played a role in his selection. And while I may have a different opinion in certain respects, I think he's certainly done an admirable job.
I think he has too. I mean, I really kind of want my Jeopardy to stay the same. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like the double-edged sword. If it stays the same, then how do you attract a new audience or a younger audience? And you want to keep your core, your base. But if there isn't some form of refreshment, then it falls prey to becoming yesterday's news.
Yeah, but isn't Jeopardy so idiosyncratic that it attracts a certain kind of person, with a certain mindset, and other people who may not have that certain mindset just aren't going to be into it? I mean, do you see it that way? Because I always have.
To a point. I mean, and I think it plays well with people from our generation.
Yeah.
Our generations, if we want to go plural there.
With me, you better go plural.
People
better go big plural. In fact,
people who kind of value the notion of being able to commit things to memory and being able to regurgitate it at a moment's notice for no reason at all. I wonder if, with smartphone technology in particular, with the Gen Z crowd, if they don't have to remember anything, then what's the appeal of reciting your knowledge?
Yeah.
In a popular format. I think I would have to think that that's certainly a concern that any show producer would have.
Were you always this way when you were a kid? Were you wired that? You know what I'm saying? Were you wired that way?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Because I was too.
Yeah, I was, and I mean, did I take some grief for it at school, especially, oh, who's this geek? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, it helped.
I will freely admit I was and still am a dork of the highest order.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it helped somewhat that I was athletic. I did play sports. It didn't help that my sports teammates would bust my chops relentlessly for that and countless other reasons.
Yeah, I've always thought that most of its appeal probably lies along a certain slice of the populace, but hell, I guess you can say that about anything.
Sure.
All right, let's talk a little bit about show day.
Oh, must we? All right, fine. Okay. Twist my arm. Okay. All right.
That's why I got you in here, Jack.
That would be a hell of a turn if he just decided.
All right, fine. Okay.
Bring him in here, take care of his travel. No, we didn't agree to
The
this.
highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Okay, I'm ready for you. I'm ready for you, Mike.
Okay,
Bring
well,
it
let's just start at the first.
Okay.
What time do you have to get there?
Well, I ended up.
What's the timeline like?
I think if memory serves, they wanted us in the studio at 8 a.m. I got there plenty early, not because I was so excited, but because my Uber or Lyft that I called was severely delayed. And so I'm like, well, how far is it? It's about 1.5 miles. I can walk it. I can at a brisk pace, I can walk it. Yeah, and it turns out I got there in 15 or 20 minutes or whatever it was. So I was waiting outside the gate for probably 20 minutes before they let us in there. And one of the show's producers said, "What are you doing out here so early?" And I was like, "Well, I walked."
But they don't hear that all that much.
No, I don't think so.
All right, so you get there, and what happens next?
So they brought us into the green room. They gave us a general welcome. They introduced themselves, the showrunners and producers, the talent managers, the coordinators, everything. And then they took their time. I think they had us fill out a form, kind of a personal information form, just so Alex would have our information to read. When we take a break and chat with the contestants, he'd have our little blurb. He'd have our name. He'd have where we're from. And just a an interesting little tidbit about each contestant. Mm-hmm. And mine happened to be, among others, that my younger sister preceded me as a contestant on Jeopardy 5 years prior. Now, spoiler alert, she also finished in second place, just like I did. So neither of us can claim family bragging rights. And so then, as I said, they kind of went through the process, the rules. Then they brought us out for an onstage rehearsal, no audience at that point. Then they brought us back to the green room, and then what they explained to us that they would be just randomly selecting which ones would appear in the next taping. And so they did 5 separate tapings. So the ones who were not selected for the initial tapings, we weren't required, but we were encouraged to actually be in the audience. And I was. And it was helpful. It was also a little scary because I think there was one of the previous episodes had a Final Jeopardy question that I did not know. Like, oh Lord, please don't let that be me. So as the day went on, my name wasn't called for the first 3, so they had us. They had those of us who had not yet been called. They issued us vouchers to eat at the Sony Pictures commissary, which was great. And then finally, after I didn't get called for the 4th episode, I'm like, well, if I don't get called for the 5th, this is one hell of a waste of a plane trip. But they did, and so mine was the last taping of the day, and I think we ended the day somewhere between the 5 and the 6 p.m. hour. So it was a full. I mean, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's a full day.
Yeah. Was there a lot of downtime in it?
Yes. Well, for those of us who weren't selected contestants for a particular episode, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, we would sit in the audience, but yeah, I mean, I think we, between breaks and waiting in the green room, there was an awful lot of waiting. They did make us, when we entered the studio, not the green room, but when we entered the studio, we had to be without our phones. So you're basically just sitting there with, twiddling your thumbs or, just waiting for whatever comes next. So, which is exactly what you want for people who are already nervous. But, it worked out okay.
God, I can't believe I'm talking to somebody that's been on Jeopardy.
Pretty awesome.
This is pretty awesome, Shoopy. All right, so showtime rolls around.
Yep.
What's the first thing that they do? I mean, how do they get the process going?
Well, the stage managers make sure that you're correctly placed, and it was just random whether I was going to be in the middle position or the end position. Obviously, the returning champion takes their proper position, and just making sure that we know where the cameras are. We have a good sense of the pace of where our instructions are coming from, where to be looking. One thing I should mention is that the critical aspect of being a contestant on Jeopardy, it's not so much what you know, it's how attuned you are to the system as it opens up so that you can be the first to ring in, or ring in properly. You ring in too early, you get locked out for a quarter of a second. I think it's about a quarter of a second.
Yeah.
You ring in too late, somebody else beats you to the punch. So the real trick of Jeopardy champions is that when the question opens up, there's a little light that comes on that indicates that the circuit is open and that you can ring in. So it's kind of it's a series of white lights. It lights up, and that's when you know. You try to time it to the millisecond. And so what you figure out as a contestant is that it's critically important to get that timing down.
Yeah.
And most can't. I got it after a bit, but the ones who were perennial returning champions, they kind of figured out the reflex and the timing very, very well.
Now, I've always thought that there must be a trick to this like that. Because you never hear, two people ring in or anything like that. I guess once somebody gets in, then everybody else is muted.
Right. And I mean, if you were standing on stage, and you can actually hear this if from a viewing on television as well, you can hear the click, 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 click that everybody's doing. So, I mean, it sounds like, rain on a tin roof. It's a lot more pronounced when you're actually on stage. But I guess the trick is to find a hand position and where you can rest your hands. For me, it was behind my back, where you can engage the buzzer quickly and efficiently.
Yeah. This is Jack McGuire. He has been on Jeopardy, and we are talking to him about being on Jeopardy. And we'll be back with Jack in just a second here, but right now, how about a nice mid-roll read? This is everybody's favorite part of one of these things. What if I told you that you could free yourself of pain, anxiety, and sleepless nights? And what if you could do it naturally? What if I told you that? Well, the CBD House of Healing is a women-owned CBD boutique. They can help. They would like to help. They carry only products from their lab made to meet the highest quality and purity standards. Their owner, who is also an RN, emphasizes building trusted relationships through education. Giving you the knowledge to care for yourself is their ultimate goal. Find your relief from the aches and pains, the emotional stress and drain, and sleep again. Go to cbddallas.com. They are at 8550 Plano Road, Northwest Highway, in the Northeast Quadrant, Suite 101. Begin your healing at the House of Healing. Is that all? No. All right, let me tell you about Cover to Cover. That's going on at Clyde Warren Park. It is coming up very, very soon here. I'll tell you when in just a second, but it's 2 stages, 8 bands. Petty Theft is your congenial headliner. And it will be Saturday, the 31st of May. It's going to rock with complimentary wine tastings, a boho market, whatever that is, and casino-style gaming. Mi Cocina's cash bar and food trucks will keep you dancing, keep you fed and beveraged, too. You get all of this for $35. VIP tickets include an open bar, Mi Cocina catering, and exclusive activities in the shaded comfort of the VIP area. So grab a friend for the day. VIP tickets for $125. Kick off the summer with the only all-day music festival in the heart of Dallas, Clyde Warren Park, the 31st of May, 1 through 7:30. It is brought to you by Choctaw Casino and Resort in Durant. Go to www.clydewarrenpark.org for tickets.
Simple.
And that's all. That's all for the mid-show read. Oh God, that's great.
We survived.
Boy, we did. All right, a quick swig of water, and then back into the Jeopardy scene. I'm so into this; it's not even funny.
He's giddy.
I am. I don't often get giddy at these things, but man, I'm so all about this. It's not even funny. All right. Did you actually get to meet Johnny Gilbert?
I didn't actually meet Johnny Gilbert. He waved at the three of us as we were on stage, just a general congenial greeting. But no, he didn't come out and greet us like the others.
One thing about Jeopardy, I'm sure you knew this going in, is once the game starts, it is all about the game.
Yes.
There is no nonsense. It is all business, and I would imagine that they make a point of making sure that you know that it is all about business.
They absolutely.
Is that right?
Absolutely right. It's television, but it's on a tight schedule. You know, we get 22 minutes to do the whole thing. So, yes, I mean it's on a clock, it's on a timer for a reason, and so they want to keep things moving. They want to keep the action going. They don't like pregnant pauses too much. Mm-hmm. Now, if it adds drama, I think it might be worthy, but generally speaking, they try to keep it moving, keep the contestants on task, on focus, and yeah, it is absolutely, it's a game with air quotes. It's not really a game. It's a serious production, and they do take it seriously.
I'm sure they do, and I think that's one of the things that's drawn me in all these years about it. Mm-hmm. The fact that this is a game show, but it's serious stuff.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
And these contestants up there, they are serious people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we try as congenial as we all are backstage. Yes, I mean when it's airtime and when it's go time, we're all competitive. We want to win.
So, what were some of the categories that you guys got?
It was a smattering of categories. I do remember one of the categories early on was called hashtag, which referred, of course, to hashtags in social media. And so they would give the answer they would describe a certain hashtag, and you would have to ring in with your question. Since both of my competitors were younger than I was by at least a factor of 10 years, I was kind of a deer in headlights at that point.
You were not terribly well equipped for that category.
And I started falling behind very quickly. I'm like, oh Lord, I'm gonna have to catch up somehow. But some of the other categories were historically based or geographically based, which is more in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And one of them, and sports as well, although I made an unintentional boo-boo on a sports question. But one of the categories where I really started catching up and cleaning up was the name of the category was "Where's That Church?" And so it was very simple. They would just tell you where a particular house of worship, or they would give you a house of worship, and you had to list what the country, or you had to answer what the country was.
Yeah. And you did well with that.
I did, but it also led to an unintentional moment of controversy that lasted for some weeks following the conclusion of the show.
Really?
Really. So one of the questions, or one of the answers, was the Church of the Nativity. And if you know where the Church of the Nativity is, it's in Bethlehem. We had to ring in to give which country it was located in.
I would have said Pennsylvania.
Well, the returning champion, Katie, she rang in and said, "What is Palestine?" The judges deemed that her response to be incorrect. So, like a hockey wing who scores on the rebound, I rang in with the only other possible answer it could have been, and I said, "What is Israel?" And that was determined by the judges at that time to be correct. Once we got to the break, the stage managers and the production team huddled with Alex on stage, and it was a good 10 minutes where they were just huddled talking about something, and we the contestants were just standing there. And
did you know what they were talking about, or did you have an idea?
I had a pretty good idea, and so one of the showrunners came up to us and said, "Okay, now we now realize that the wording of that answer might be construed as being," and I use his word, "problematic." So I had something to lose here because I answered the question correctly. I think it was only a $400 question, so it wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
In the end, I just decided, okay, whatever. What's the solution here? What they decided to do was reset our scores so that Katie, the champion, was not penalized for the initial incorrect answer as they deemed it, and I didn't get credit for what they deemed was the correct answer. Basically, just resetting it as if it never happened. They then spliced in a new question, a reserve question in that category, which was, if I remember, it was Our Lady of Guadalupe, which I said, what is Mexico? And so in essence, nothing happened. There was no substantive change other than Katie didn't lose any money.
Yeah.
They told us that they were going to edit that in so that would appear to be no one would be the wiser. Fair enough. Only on the air date, which was in mid-January, they forgot, but the original question and the original answer aired. And all right, now wait a minute.
You go through all of this. And they come up to you and tell you that question is problematic.
Yeah.
We're throwing it out.
Yep.
You go through all of this.
Yes.
And you get no indication did you get an indication of what they were going to do about this?
Well, not until they started speaking to us.
Yeah.
Here's what we propose to do.
Yeah.
Now,
so you thought they were going to splice this in?
Yes. Once they explained the solution and I answered that question correctly, I figured, okay, well, then the situation is dealt with. And yes, what they said was when the episode airs, we're going to splice in this footage. It will look seamless. No one will be the wiser, and we'll just go on with our lives. And we all thought that's what was going to happen. But on the actual air day, when it aired, the original question, the Church of the Nativity, was out there for everyone to see and everyone to hear. And when I saw it, I was like, oh boy. And I remember talking to my dad afterward. I was like, Dad, we may have a problem here. And he said, Jack, I'm sure it's nothing. No, who's going to make a big deal about this? Well, apparently a lot of people. It was on NBC. It was on Wall Street Journal. It was on Al Jazeera led with it. Washington Post. All of these things, and there were even some activist groups that actively protested what was initially shown. And I mean, fortunately, nobody doxed me, so nobody gave me death threats or anything like that. But somehow I found myself neck deep in something that, quite honestly, had very little, in fact, no effect on the outcome of the game.
Yeah,
really, it amounted to nothing. But people were obviously passions were worked up as a result.
And this hit a hot button.
Oh, hugely, very much so.
Now, how long was it between all of that and the time the show aired?
So my recording date, and I only remember this because it was 2 days before my birthday, was October 23rd of 2019. And the air date, I want to say it was like January 10th or 11th of 2020. So it aired just a few weeks prior to the pandemic really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a mind blow that something like that could happen on Jeopardy, because I mean it's so buttoned down.
Yes.
I mean everything runs to the second, or so it seems out here in amongst the masses.
Sure. Well, and they're out in the social media sphere. There were those who thought maybe it wasn't an accident, maybe it was done, semi-intentionally, maybe it was done to stir up controversy, maybe, personally, I don't know. I mean, there's no way to know, but no, I think the production staff takes their role seriously.
Yeah.
I think they're consummate professionals. I don't think anything untoward happened. I just think that maybe a switch wasn't pulled.
Right.
I can tell you, just working in TV and radio and stuff, sometimes it's just a matter of the management or whoever, the production, that side of production talks about it, doesn't make it to the editor, and the editor just does their thing, don't have any notes, and are like, okay, I'm done, because they're rolling through however many episodes, and that has caught me unaware a couple times working in especially the TV side of things. It's like,
I
we
can
weren't
believe
supposed to do that. Like, no one told me.
So, show over. And what happens then?
Well, what happens then is it's kind of unceremonious. I was, again, the last episode of the day. They thanked us for being there. They made sure they had our mailing information, and they said thank you. And that was basically it. And it's not, I didn't interpret it as being cold or unkind. It's just that they go through I don't know how many contestants in a single season, let alone the entirety of the show. Thousands. I mean, untold thousands. So, unless you are, now if you are a returning champion or a multi-time returning champion, now you're talking about, you're treated a little more like, the landed gentry.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the vast majority of contestants, myself included, it's, thank you very much, and we'll get you what we owe you. And
I figured it had to have a certain amount of that cattle call aspect to it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's hardly surprising.
No, and again, I don't view it with any degree of ill will. It's the reality of how a major national, if not worldwide, production runs. I mean, it's a well-oiled machine.
Sure. So did Alex look at you and give you any kind of knowing nod throughout the proceedings or anything? Or
he actually busted my chops during the commercial break.
Oh, he did?
Oh yeah. Oh, this is embarrassing, but yes, I will tell it. And you're going to kill me because of the sports background. But we had one of the categories was
just for the record, I'm not going to kill you.
After we'll see. Being under pressure and under the lights, and on camera, for those who aren't used to it, can occasionally cause some what I would call brain farts, and I had one. I had a fairly easy softball question to answer, and the answer was penalty minutes for hockey. Only I forgot to say minutes. And initially, even the show's Alex and the show's producers didn't notice. The judges didn't notice. It was only later when they realized, he didn't actually say minutes. Sorry, we can't give you credit for that. And that's legit. I mean, I didn't. It should have been penalty minutes, and I didn't say that.
Did they have to did they go on with a couple of questions and then come back and fix that?
They did, and they made it public. So Alex, he said, before we go further, we have a change in scoring, and unfortunately, Jack, it affects you. And he explained what happened to everyone in America that I screwed up. And thanks a lot.
So that's Jeopardy for you.
Yeah, well, I mean that was bad enough. What was worse is that he Alex being a hockey fan himself, he said, "Yeah, Jack, that was sure would have been a whole lot of penalties for one game, wouldn't it?" I'm like, okay, fair enough. You got me.
You tell me, you're the hockey fan here.
So yeah, he busted my chops, and rightly so. And I, he was at the time in his career and his end stage health where he really was beyond trying to impress or play nice with anybody. He was just going to be flat out as it was, seat of his pants. He's going to tell you what he thinks.
Yeah.
So, which I appreciated. Sure.
I mean, I would expect nothing else from him or anybody on that show that would do that on that show. Really.
Right. It's they're there to, it's a show. It's there to bring in viewership, and they want it as entertaining and in your face as possible.
So did this experience change the way you look at Jeopardy now?
Yes. Only in the sense that when you view it as a television viewer, you always, again, view yourself as, you picture yourself in the spot of being a contestant, competing among them.
Sure.
Once, this might just be me, but once you've actually done it, it feels like, okay, the magic isn't gone. I mean, you still have that competitive instinct. You still love trivia, but now that you've experienced what it's like to be on the show, now that you have taken your measure of how you would compete, for me, that question was essentially answered.
Yeah.
So I don't really look at it with the same degree of wonder that I did, all those years.
Do you, just from that standpoint, do you regret going on there?
Not in the least. I regret some answers I gave, but no, I would, if being on a show that tests your wits is something that appeals to you as a person who likes trivia, then yeah, I would absolutely 10 out of 10 recommend.
It takes a certain type.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. It definitely takes a certain type.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this has been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
This has been this has been what I wanted it to be. I wanted an inside look from somebody who has seen it from the inside, and you have given us that.
Well, anything I can do to help you, Mike.
You've done enough. You came in here and did well, and I really appreciate you coming up here and doing this today.
Thanks for having me.
He is Jack McGuire, Jeopardy contestant. And this has been your Dark Companion. We thank you very much for watching. Do I have anything else here? Any kind of closing notes or nothing? Really?
There's more stuff to read on there if you want to read it, but that's up to you.
Okay, well.
Well, don't reread this.
Okay, I'm not going to reread that. All right. I don't know. We'll just splice something in or something. But
very good.
Yes.
Take a cue from Jeopardy's editors.
That's the easy way out.
We won't tell Ashley.
Nice.
Yes. She'll get over it.
She doesn't get over anything.
All right. Thank you, Shuby. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Mickey. Thank you, Becca. Thank you for watching. This has been your Dark Companion. Bye.
All right. I'm gonna go take my pants off.
Your Dark Companion is a Stolen Water Media presentation.